Alrighty, welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to another episode of the House Talks podcast. Today we have a very special guest on. We got Kolby Johnson in the building, pro hockey player. How are we doing today, my friend?
I'm doing great. Sun shining.
Hey, it's gorgeous, eh? End of summer here, wrapping up, and we're gonna get right into this. You told us a little history fact right before we started this podcast, eh?
A little history fact about hockey. I was just in Montreal, the eastern end of Canada, where actually escaped slaves in the 1900s, invented ice hockey. So, yeah, that's a little fun fact. It was called the Black Hockey League. Yeah, they invented, actually in this league, they also invented the slap shot, the butterfly, like for goalies going down. Yeah, and like the aggressive kind of hitting in hockey as well. Yeah, and it's crazy. They had this league. They actually played a game in Montreal. So it started in Dartmouth and Falmouth, Nova Scotia, I believe, and they were able to get a 12-team league, then 16-team league of just black players that were involved in churches to try and make it so the churches could go from community to community, so black people could have a community like that didn't have any borders. And so then you had like French speaking and English speaking black people who all were playing hockey. But anyways, they played this game in Montreal. They had 1,500 fans. It was the biggest game for a while in Montreal. But what happened was they were going to build railroads, and a lot of the hockey rinks that they had built were in the way of these railroads, especially around Halifax. And everybody conspired against this league to not rent out ice, not have any press or anything for these players. So then the league dwindled out and died in 1910. So 1895 to 1910, the league existed, and then it took a 7-year hiatus, and then in 1917 it started again, but then World War II happened.
Honestly, the way you started it off, I thought you were I believed what you said, but I thought you were gonna start making up a joke or something. And so I was laughing. I'm looking at Jasper chuckling a bit. Then you just kept going deeper and deeper. So if you made any of this up, I'm gonna say that is one hell of a freaking imagination on you. But no, I believe you, Kolby. I 100% believe you. That's nuts. That is nuts.
I was just out there with my all black family, so they could have just been telling me crazy stuff, and I just believed all of it. Driving me around to these hockey rinks.
Could you imagine?
Yeah, I don't know.
Now you're on a podcast, they're watching, you're we got him.
They're like, what the bloke? We got this man. So yeah. But yeah, black people invented hockey. Yeah, so that's my fun fact.
Fucking love it, man. That's awesome. Getting into your hockey career a little bit, do you want to let everybody know kind of
where it all started?
Where it all started and where you went from there?
So 1895, I escaped off the boat. Yeah, me and Uncle Ricky off the boat. You imagine? It was almost worse. In Saskatchewan, I grew up in Saskatchewan, Alberta as well. And that's just all people do. It's cold all year there. So I started in Pinoka is where I started skating at first. That's in Alberta, home of the biggest amateur stampede in Canada. So there's that. Shout out P-O-N-K-O-A. Did I spell that right? No, P-O-N-O-K-A. There we go. Just cut that. No, I'm just kidding.
We can cut shit.
No, they had this chant. It was P-O-P-O-N, P-O-N-O-K-A. It's stuck in my head forever. But yeah, that was what was going on at the rink all the time. They had this junior B there team called the Stampeders, and they'd always have skates on at the rink. And I thought these guys were in the NHL. When I saw the Edmonton Oilers playing on TV, I was like, that's a Stampeder. It was you can't tell me that's not the Stampeders. Even when I went to go watch the Red Deer Rebels, I'd be like, this is the same league, because they're all way better than me, right? But yeah, at that time, Red Deer, which is 45. I want to say 45 minutes away from Panoka. They won the Memorial Cup. They had like Colby Armstrong. They had Cam Ward on their team. They had some good players. I want to say Dion Phaneuf, but I don't think Dion Phaneuf was on that team. He actually might have been. He might have been on that team. So I had a lot of good hockey to watch, I guess. And then I was in between Calgary and Edmonton. And Edmonton had they had George Larocque. They had Mike Greer for a bit. They had Anson Carter at one point with the dreads coming out of his helmet, which is crazy. And then Calgary had Jerome McGinley. Just the GOAT. He's like Black Jesus almost at this point.
Still is.
Yeah, still is.
Dude, his kids are sick too. They play out of Summit. Yeah, they are players, man.
Oh yeah,
really good hockey players. Even his daughter is really good.
Yeah, I heard his daughter's really good. Bo was talking about that because he wants Rocket to do all that one day. Me and Mikey are trying to help her do that too. So he's always updating me on the women in hockey too. But yeah, Joe, I think, is the middle one. That guy had, I think, 2 goals as a 15-year-old in the WHL when he got called up, which for a black player is way better than my 15-year-old debut in Victoria. Also, like my first time in BC. No, first time on the island.
You debuted in the dub?
Yeah, I got called up at Christmas time.
Wait, where did you play minor hockey, Colby? Let's go back a little bit. So
I was just gonna say I was -4 in my first game, but
I was trying to see you.
I'm just trying to own it, bro.
I was just trying to see you.
Trying to own it. -4.
No. But going back, playing. Oh wait, okay. You played minor hockey where, and then how did you climb up the ranks? How'd that work?
So I played minor hockey in Panoka.
Okay.
And that was like really fun. I played up with my brother's team a lot as a goalie, actually. My dad, he was obsessed with goalies. He loved Curtis Joseph, Cujo, and my name's Kojo, so people always call me Cujo. I played defense and goalie. I really liked playing goalie because my dad would like shoot on me in the basement all the time. We had this like fake Stanley Cup that like if I stopped enough pucks, he'd be like, "You win, like you won," and I'd like hold it, and he'd put like Kool-Aid in there, and then like I'd drink it. And I had this Patrick Waugh jersey. Yeah, so and he actually bought me the pads that like kind of look like Jose Theodore's. Like those ones were sweet. And yeah, I played there, and then my family moved to Kinnersley, Saskatchewan. Subsequently, that's where I found out I was black. Was when I moved to Kinnersley. Not saying that Kinnersley is the worst place on the planet, but like Panoka is like, you could probably tell from the name, like Red Deer, like these places, like they're pretty resi. Like you had Hobima, Musquatchie, you had Duck Lake. Like all those places around there. Most of me and my brother's friends and stuff were like colored of some sort, and like there were powwows all the time. So like that's some of my earliest memories is powwows. But then you move to Kinnersley, Saskatchewan, there ain't no powwows there, like ever. There's no powwows there. It's like a blue collar town. I think my family was like one of the first, maybe the first like black families there, like just pioneering that shit.
How old were you when you went there?
Around 10 years old.
Okay.
Yeah. I remember everybody like my older brother and I are only 2 years apart. So they're like, we were at school and like this is like gotta be first day, and everybody's like, "Whoa, like who are you guys? Like you guys twins?" And everybody's touching our hair and stuff, and we're just like what's going on? Like we're just normal people.
Complete culture shock, right?
Yeah, and then I went home and I was like looking in the mirror. I was like, "What's wrong with me?" And my mom's like, "No, you're beautiful, Colby. Don't worry about it. Like your dad's from like a place far away." And then that's kind of like when I started to feel like an alien a little bit. But like hockey for the most part and sports for the most part really helped me like not feel like an alien as much because the camaraderie when you're winning. And I was usually on teams that won a lot, so that was usually helpful. And it was usually just kids from other teams in other towns that would like hear shit from their dads. And my dad would sometimes he'd be getting crazy. Like so I played minor hockey in Kinnersley, but because of all the small towns, there's like Kinnersley would be like the main spot, but then you'd have people from like Dawsland, Kerrobert, Unity, Macklin, Rosetown, Plenty, like all over. Like, and this is like 2-3 hours, like radius. So you'd be driving 3 hours for a practice, that kind of thing. But yeah, I remember we, in Bantam, my team was hosting Westerns, which is like the biggest tournament for Bantam age players. We hosted as a AA team, actually won bronze in that one, beat Nolan Patrick's team. Humble brag, I got player of the game over Nolan Patrick. He went second overall in the show draft. He's a millionaire, but you know what? Bantam, you know. But anyways, we had this guy named Garrett Pilon who came to play on our team for that year. Him and I were supposed to go play major midget that year. But it just like, we played summer hockey together, and we're like, we could probably do something really cool this year and like get drafted higher, that kind of thing. And like I said, the camaraderie with my friends from like that area, like we knew something good was going to happen. Like I'd been playing with the same players like since I got to Kindersley, and then like up until then, and like our teams were like always winning. Like we were always winning. So then like we took that super seriously too. Like that year, like we were going to like Alberta for tournaments and stuff, and we'd have video, like we'd be in a conference room like this, just like doing video like every week. My dad, he started gyms and stuff around an athletic company. So like his gym was connected to the rink to a track. So we'd have like crazy workouts going on. And Garrett's dad is Rich Pilon, one of the toughest guys to ever play in the NHL. And he's a native guy, Métis. And I think he's from Prince Albert, but I'm not quite sure. I think he might have just played for Prince Albert. But yeah, he played in the show for about 10 years, fought everybody you can think of, like Probert and all those guys. Yeah, he like helped coach too, and he did a bunch of skills work with me and like a lot of the other players. So we had something really good going on there, and yeah, we won all season. Like Garrett actually ended up making the NHL with the Capitals. He's a really good player. We had some other really good players too, like Justin Close, our goalie. He just last year broke the shutout record for Minnesota Golden Gophers, like as a goalie, 5'10" goalie. How you doing? 5'10" goal. That's two undersized goalies I've played with that went to D1 and both lit it up. Evan Weniger is the other guy. I played with him when I was 16. He had a late birthday, so he's also so he's 17. I don't know if it counts as a true freshman if your age is 18 when you go to school, but you're like you've been graduated for a year, because like he had late birthday there, but he was still like 5'9", 5'10", and he went and played with Gensel and in D1, and both goalies who were drafted like got injuries, and then he was like just slotted in there and just lit it up. Closey waited 2 years before. I think he played one game his first 2 years and had to earn a scholarship, but he's a genius. His parents are accountants, and they probably had him fucking booking journal entries when he was like grade 8, 9, like, you know what I mean? So he's a really smart guy. So yeah, then when he finally got his chance after 3 years, like he lit it up. And like I said, like they went to nationals, they went to Frozen Four every year he was there, that he broke a record. So that was our goalie. So we, just with those three players, well, including myself, we were good. But no, we like our whole team though, like was full of players who ended up just being like really good, like local talent, or even like
it's a small town too.
Yeah, like we had a guy named Braden Buziak who's a tough guy in the WHL, point per game in university hockey as well. Really, really good player. And just like, that was just a good group of guys. Like, and our coach, he coached the junior hockey team, the junior Clippers, the year before, and he like coached junior hockey for like 10 years. And then something happened. He was opening up a gym in town, and there's just he didn't have time to do junior, so then for 1 year he came. And there was a lockout too, so Derek Dorsett, who played for the Vancouver Canucks, he'd come to our practices and stuff. I wore 15 because of Derek Dorsett, because like his dad actually coached me a ton when I was still playing defense even in like Pee Wee. But then he was like, Kolby should play forward because he's really fast. Because all I do is like playing goalie, you see the game, right? You see the game differently. And then once you like transition to playing like defense, you still get to see so much of the game. Yeah. But like, I remember being goalie and just thinking like, well, what if you just skate here? Like you just see the tendencies of everybody, and it's especially when like everybody's young. Boy. And it's just like, oh, cheat codes. So then I just get the puck and I'd go behind the net, use it for shield, and I'd either turn one way or turn the other, and then just skate end to end, or everybody think I'd skate end to end, and then somebody would just like be wide open on the other side of the ice, and I just stop and then I pass it, and then there's just cheat code, unlimited points, cheat code as a kid, and maybe kids were scared a little bit too. The only black guy out there, I was pretty big too, so he was like, oh shit. But yeah, anyways,
use it to your advantage.
Going back to that whole thing with Rich, and like since he was Aboriginal and like my dad like being Jamaican, like from the yard. Like I just remember them getting in like so many like fights with like other parents and stuff. Like, and Rich, he was like a legit tough guy in the NHL. And my dad did kickboxing. My uncle Ricky told me a story last weekend when I was in Montreal. But my dad, like just knocking guys out. He's like yeah, at this bar down in Lachine, some guy called him a hard R. Your dad didn't even like give him a second to breathe. He just knock him out. He just knock him. You know, just like holy shit. Like my dad never told me these stories. He was pretty tough.
Now you know where you get it from, right?
Yeah, legit though. But yeah, like so him like and he doesn't stand for any of that stuff. He was on the national track team and like the Olympic team and all that stuff, like through the 80s and stuff, and the Quebecois, like either the nicest people you've ever met or people stuck in the past who think that they should be separatist and you know all that stuff. So like he had to deal with a lot of that stuff, and he traveling the world too as an athlete. Especially a black athlete with no education. He just like literally got to Canada sprinting. Like I didn't believe him for most of my life because my grandparents, my great grandparents. I don't know my great grandpa. I mean I don't know my grandpa on my dad's side. That's what I meant to say. So my grandma, she was like telling me like how the government like took my dad here and then like they moved him around so that he could be a track star and stuff. And I was like, I thought my whole life he was just like gassing himself up. Like just saying stuff so much, saying he knows this person, this. Like he's like, I went to school with Kamala Harris or Kamala. You know who I'm talking about? Yeah. He's like, I went to school with her at West Mount High, and I'm like, no way, you went to school with
Kamala Harris?
Yeah.
He actually went to school with her.
And my uncle Ricky takes me to the school, and he's like, yeah, this is where your dad went to school with Kamala Harris. And I was like, hey, you're kidding me. He's like, I would be smoking weed in high school, watching your dad. Like he'd be like, I'd be on the bleachers, smoking weed, stealing bikes and stuff. But your dad would be ripping around this track, just beating everybody. And then Kamala Harris was going to school in here at the same time. And I was just like, yeah, just crazy stuff. And like, I guess, yeah, my dad trained with like a lot of like really high level athletes from Montreal, just because like they have the Olympic village there and all that stuff. So just like crazy that like I kind of got to see that. But yeah, so.
Who'd you get drafted by?
Did I get drafted by?
Yeah, did you get drafted?
In the WHL?
Yeah.
Prince George Cougars.
Okay.
I should have went higher, but I had
where'd you get drafted?
anger problems. 50th overall.
You had anger problems?
I had bad anger problems. I was supposed to go first round, but I had really bad anger problems.
Give us a story.
If I got a penalty and I didn't think it was a penalty, I was breaking my stick over the boards. Just losing it. Or it also comes from because like I said, my dad, like I'd see him like legit getting into fights with other parents from other teams and stuff like that because of shit they were saying to me. You know what I mean? Like a monkey, gorilla, niggas should go play basketball, but hard R. Yeah. You know what I mean? You should go play basketball. What are you doing out here? And like, that's like when I like first was getting it. So I'd get really, really mad, and people knew they could get me really, really mad. So people would just say all kinds of stuff. I even have one of my buddies, I won't name him, but he kept calling me the hard R all game, and he'd whisper it to me. And then I hit him to the head, and I was like, well, it's because he said this and this. This is in Bantam.
Okay.
And he was a really good player, too. He actually later on apologized because we ended up being line mates in midget.
Were you buddies then, or like?
Not buddies at all.
Okay.
Not buddies at all. But he said later, like, he was just immature, and he was just trying to get me off my game. And like I said, like my team like was really good back then. But I just, I could be the Achilles heel to the team too, because like I could either be getting like 3 points or I could be getting 3 penalties and getting kicked out of the game. Like I'd hit somebody from behind. If you called me the N-word and I was really, really mad and say I missed 2 shots in a row, I'd be like, I know your number. I'm hitting you from behind. I'm going to injure you and I'm going to get kicked out of this game. Yeah. Like I just like at bantam age, right? And then my coaches would try and discipline me, and I'd be like, "What do you know?" You know what I mean? Like,
and what do they say at that point too?
Well, my coach that year, he coached junior hockey, so he's like, he wasn't putting up with none of that, and he was like, "I will tell scouts what you're saying. I'll tell scouts how you're acting, and I won't cover for you." Like, and you'll drop down. That's why I went 3rd round, but I still played at 15, right? Because, just anger problems. But then some teams, they like that. They hear anger problems. They're like, this kid's going to be a firecracker when he gets older, especially when there's fans in the building. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah, because you're always looking for the next fighter to come in and shore up the star players, right?
Exactly. Yeah, so they let me get in early. They signed me really early. I had a good camp and everything. But yeah, I still like work on that stuff all the time. I go in the steam room all the time, just work on my breathing. I hit the bags and work on my breathing. Because when I was younger, like I got my first fight when I was 15 at camp as well.
Similar incident?
No.
Okay.
I poked a goalie one too many times. I already had a goal in the game too, and so whenever I get a goal early, I'm just so cocky out there and just
buzzing.
Just buzzing and just like. I love like slashing people on the toes, like on their laces, like right off of draws and stuff. I love doing that stuff because the ref never sees that. But then like this scar right here is actually from me doing that to a guy, and then just getting clocked in the face. But then Buddy gets it five a game. We're on the power play for 5 minutes. We score, and I'm like, hey, what can you do? You know what I mean? But like, So I'm just kind of being a little pest, you know. And then Buddy wants to fight, and he like threw me up against the glass. He already had his gloves off, and I was like, oh shit, like I'm in one. It wasn't my first like fight, but it was my first fight in hockey. And I was just like, oh shit, I'm in one. And then before I knew it, this guy's just on the ice, and I was like, oh shit. And then Todd Harkins, the general manager, he's like to my parents after the game, he's like, where'd we get this guy from? Because Mark Hollick, who helps run the Yale Hockey Academy here. Yeah. He's the one who like drafted me. I've known him since I was like 12. And he knew that I was like that, but Todd, he fought in the NHL as well. And he's like, where did we get this guy from? He's like, you're still around at 50? He's like, that's crazy. And then they started like telling me to get like more physical with my game, and that I kind of had a gift for fighting. And when I was 16, I got in 5 fights. I split that year between being in fat camp for the WHL and then playing junior A. But my team in junior A, we went like 40-something, 8 and like 5. So we were really good.
What team was this?
Kindersley Clippers.
Okay.
That year, I think Dauphin or Portage won RBC. They were really good those teams were all really good that year. But yeah, so I kind of sat on the bench with that team, and then I sat in the stands with Prince George. But the coaches in Prince George were all fighters. Mark played in the American League as a fighter, made it out of Tier 2. He made the American League out of Tier 2 college hockey in Canada, which is impossible
Tier 2 college. So what's Tier 2 college hockey in Canada?
ACAC, BCIHL. So,
oh, what?
But like it does happen. Like Elijah Villio, he played Tier 2 college hockey in Canada in the BCI, and he should definitely get games in the American League. He got invited to a KHL camp out of the BCI, but it's really hard to actually stick. And Mark stuck, but it's because he was tough. But yeah, and then Roman Vopat was the assistant. He actually got traded for Wayne Gretzky at one point. That was his claim to fame. It was like a 10-person trade, all for Wayne Gretzky. And he's like, I was in there though. Like, come on, though. He's like, that's legendary. Yeah. It's like Roman was a G too. And then we had Michael Hangen too, who was a pretty tough guy. He played in the Dell though, so he went from the Western League to the coast a bit, and then to the Dell. But yeah, these guys just taught me how to fight, and I'd like go to the rink early, and I'd be hitting the bags. I went from 16 years old to 17 years old. I went from 5'10", 170 to 6'1", 200 pounds. Just like, cause like these guys were just telling me what to do, and it kind of hurt my career though in a way because they were like, you don't have to worry about your skill anymore, but like. I was like almost goal per game player until I made the WHL. Like, if you want to pull up my stats, no, I'm just kidding. I was almost a goal per game player. Like even in major midget at 15, I was around a goal per game. I was leading my teams in points. But then they're like, you're gonna make it to the American League and higher just based off of your fighting. And I'm good at penalty killing. But they're like, if you fight and you win and you learn how to like just throw your southpaw properly. So I'm ambidextrous when I fight. That's why I can do all the music stuff, like the drumming and the guitar and the piano and the bass. It's because this hand, like my left hand, just everything makes sense with this hand too, except like writing, I guess. I can't really write that well.
Well, how do you feel about that now? Because like obviously like the game's changed a lot, I guess, from when you're in junior till now.
Yeah.
Like it's a lot more skilled, and like there aren't a shit ton of fight guys that just fight. There are some, of course, but I don't know.
But,
how do you feel about that now?
The trending is actually just crazy after COVID. People like, cause it's like the Roman said, they're like, you gotta keep people fed, you gotta keep them entertained, and like you'll be able to control people for as long as you want, right? And it's like almost like after COVID, it went into this new like renaissance, like era where like everybody was stuck inside, pent up, getting angry, and they're like, instead of rioting, like what was one of the only things open during COVID? Dana White, UFC, Donald Trump, those guys they're like.
Good point.
I was about to say liquor stores.
Like legit though during COVID, I remember because I went back to Saskatchewan. I was at York University with my older brother for just 1 year. But then COVID happened. I remember like there's 500 people in these classrooms, right? And it's like this, never opening up again. I was like Ontario might never be the same again. I gotta get out of here. I want to play hockey again. So then I went to Sask, and like I just remember that was like the only thing to do. Was just like go to the liquor store and then watch UFC with the fellas. And then they had bubble hockey started after a little bit, but UFC was like it never stopped.
Kolby, who'd you look up to growing up, like hockey player?
Oh, actually,
I think you told me once
because I forgot to say about the game changing.
Okay,
the game changing.
My bad. Please hit us with that.
So the season before COVID, I have a video on my phone that I look at for motivation for when I want to quit hockey. There was 200 fights the year before COVID. Okay. The year after, shortened season, 200 fights. Okay. That's 40 games. The next season, 450 fights. The next season, 600, then 700, right? Fights. In a year. That's a lot of fighting.
That's a lot of fights.
That's a lot of fighting. But then it's like, if you think that's crazy, that's just the NHL where there's no, like, Ryan Reeves is a real fighter, but like he can also play the game, but like he's like a real fighter in the sense that like he does do other things, but the main thing he is there for, and like if you just looked at his skill and stuff, you'd be like, okay, we got a fourth line guy who's probably not going to get scored on out there. That's not enough. That's just not enough to keep a guy around. And to pay the guy, to pay the man like good. And for him to be the 4th oldest or 5th oldest guy in the NHL, and like he wouldn't have done that based off of just getting 15 points a year, you know. But then he's like, he's knocking guys out. He's fighting Bugard and stuff like McGrattan and stuff like that, like, which is crazy. But anyways, the trickle down effect happens, right? So then there's more fighting in the American League, right? Because now it's like, well, you're not, because for a while it was like smaller players, skilled players getting in and getting a little bit on the 4th line even. A small skilled centerman who buzzes around, plays 200 feet, but wins every draw, and he can win on both sides of the ice too, right? Because that's like super important. Maybe you're really good on one side, but you're not, then you go on your forehand, you can't win, you know? But those guys started getting in a little bit, but then fighting comes up again, and they're like, okay, well now you're gonna win both sides, like your draws on both sides, but like if Buddy gets trucked, are you going to go fight Matt Rempe? You know what I mean? Are you going to go fight Matthew Olivier? Are you going to go fight Nick Delorier? You know what I mean? Because Matt Martin, every team still has like
at least one,
right? But then there's all these other guys like Sam Bennett who can just do it. They can just do it. And like Florida, like they're tough. They can like their whole team is like that. Like even Sam Reinhart, like he'll tune you up if he has to, right? So then that trickle down effect happens, and then like you get down to the SP and then the Fed and the Coast. It's just like somebody makes a hit, there's a fight. And then the fans are just like, they just want to see fights. They just want to see fights. And then if the NHL has fights at all, then in those leagues, people who don't know nothing about hockey, like maybe some war veterans with PTSD, you know, trying to get some catharsis or whatever, you know, they just want to see people hitting each other, right? Like, you know, hopefully that doesn't get me in trouble. Yeah, like I think that it's kind of trickled back in, but I think in the healthiest way possible, where it's like you got to be able to play. Because that was the worst part of my hockey career, was in the Western League, not scoring like meaningful goals for my team, like, and just blocking shots and fighting. Like I do like killing penalties, I do like blocking shots, and I do like fighting. But when you're only doing that, you're like, life is pain. Life is suffering. I gotta be a monk so that I can deal with, you know, I gotta deal with all this stuff. Because if all you're doing is, man, that shot, because guys can shoot. Guys can shoot.
You gotta be like polar opposite. It's like off the ice and what you are on the ice.
And you feel a lot of guys, it's always like, you're so nice. Oh, fighters are the nicest guys in the world. It's like, yeah, now you gotta do that too. You know what I mean? You gotta turn it on and off.
Are a lot of guys like that?
Like a lot of fighters?
Like, as in like they're super like, you know, they completely turn it off the ice, because like you said, their life is pain on the ice.
Yeah.
And then off the ice, like you said, super like Zen mode.
One guy like that is Ryan Reeves.
Yeah.
During the lockout, when they had the whole racism incident, and then they made what was that? They had a group of just all the black players. They got together.
Yeah, the Alliance.
Yeah, the Alliance.
Yeah.
And Ryan Reeves was one of the most well-spoken and articulated guys on that entire panel of players, right? So you see that, and it's like the fighters are starting to focus more on things just other than hockey, right?
Yeah. Well, a lot of the fighters too are like guys who actually come from like college.
Yeah.
Which is like there's a guy I know named Kyle Neuber. Shout out to Kyle Neuber. I think he's a 4-time East Coast champion, but I think he's getting his master's or PhD right now. But he's fought probably 15 times a year. He's 34, I want to say. And he fought 15 times each year in the OHL. He was drafted like 2nd or 3rd round with like 4 points in the OHL. So this guy's tough. This guy's real tough. So he's been in a lot of fights, but like super nice guy, super smart guy. You look at like Dave Peros. Is that his name? Yeah. Dave Peros? Yeah.
I don't know if it's Dave, but Peros.
Yeah, he went to RIT.
Isn't Peros part of like the NHL
safety commission?
George
Peros. That's his name. And then you got
even Kevin Bieksa.
Yeah, Kevin Bieksa's a smart guy.
Put up 50 points, went NCAA, got his bachelor's.
He's a shit kicker.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Yeah, the Superman punch.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
You gotta do that in the games.
Yeah, I'll try. It's hard.
Good. He got Mike Richards once, and then he dropped, I think, Radko Gudas.
He dropped Radko Gudas with it. Yeah,
Gudas was on the ground.
God,
Yeah.
I've seen a lot of players get that, and that's a really, really hard one to throw. Usually guys who are more ambidextrous can get away with it.
Yeah.
Because like what I'll do is I'll start left a lot of the time, and I throw a left. If I could throw another one, I will, but I'll usually throw left and then grab, because it usually stuns the guy. And if they go like this and open up, then you get that first one, grab, pull, and you can get over the top, right? But then if you're known to do that kind of thing, you can just fake the grab, right? And player goes like this, whoa, and then they drop their guard, and then you jump over, right? So you jump over, but it also opens you up. And I'm just afraid that I'm gonna go to do that. I'm gonna be like up in the air, and I'm just gonna get knocked, slapped. I'm gonna be paused in the air.
That's a highlight.
Yeah, it's a highlight anyways. Go viral, whatever. But like, I'll go by, like I was saying to Amesbury. I was skating with him the other week. Another guy who's super, super nice.
He's
Diamond Hands.
Diamond Hands. Yeah, he's like viral right now, man.
Yeah, he's viral. He's getting his bag too. He played in Danbury, and now he's in Kansas City, I think, in the coast. Yeah, I was saying, like, man, even if I get knocked out by this guy, he's got how many followers? A million people will see it, you know? Whatever.
Shout out to
So like, we played on the same team before, so I'll be like, you gotta give me one. I told him to. I was like, you gotta give me one, but don't knock me out. Just don't knock me out, please. But you know, like if I do something stupid,
You gotta take care of business.
He's gotta take care of business. But yeah, fighters usually like really good guys. Like usually before the game, even like usually everybody knows each other. That's usually like the best thing, when like other tough guys, like just in the summer, will like message you. You know, just see how things are going, where you're planning on playing, because it's hard. It's hard being a tough guy, because like I said, like the injuries over the years, some guys don't take care of themselves as well as they should. It can be really hard on you mentally. Not enough is out there about mental health with athletes in general, let alone I think probably the hardest role in sports.
He has fighting on command.
Yeah.
So to speak, right?
Yeah, you just I haven't been, luckily in over 30 fights, I haven't been punched and fallen down or anything like that. But it is humiliating when like you lose. Like I've had ones where like I miss and then I fall on the ice in front of like 5,000-6,000 people, you know. And I've had ones where I've like knocked guys out in front of like 10,000 people, and it's like for the guy who gets knocked out, it's like you don't want that. And for me, like when that happens, it's like I like it's like sobering. It's like, damn, like that could have been me super easy, because you think of all the punches that just barely miss. You know, mortal. Yeah.
Once you get dropped like that.
Yeah.
Or even if you get hit with a hard one.
Oh yeah. Yeah, my nose is mangled still. Tristan DeRoos got me. First game of the year, we had like a minute-long tilt. It was a really good tilt. Probably one of the best tilts I've been in. He's a tough farm kid from Sask. We trained together, and I played with his older brother. But yeah, halfway through the fight, I clocked him with one over top, but that opened me up, and he clocked me with one on my nose, and I'm still... It's like starting the lawnmower, the weed whacker. You know what I mean? It's like starting the weed whacker. Yeah, so... that'll like stick with me forever. But yeah, I was like so bloody after that fight. It was a really good one though. But that whole year, my nose kept breaking. Like just in games, like going to the front of the net and like somebody just grazes you with their hand, or when in a fight, like if somebody actually gets you with a good one. Like my eyes were black the whole year. Like both a little blacker than they are now. They were just black all year, you know. So it's legit. But like it like, and I wear glasses too, and like that's around, like I stopped wearing glasses for a while, and I was doing college at that time already. And I just remember like some days my eyes would just be so puffy just trying to read my computer screen. I probably had a concussion that whole year just staring at screens. Just academic weapon though.
How do you deal with the adrenaline?
The adrenaline?
Per game, because obviously it peaks and stops.
Yeah.
How do you get adrenaline if you're regular like that?
Well, I was talking with Garrett Hunt about this actually. This guy's a legend, like in the minors and stuff. He played Vancouver Giants. I think he's from Alaska, now he lives in Williams Lake. But
because you're so used to the fighting, right? The adrenaline goes up. Like, how do you handle that?
He's 38. He's played in the K. He's played in the Coast. He's played in the American League. Like, and he's been captain in I think all three. He's playing in Europe now in like one of the top leagues out there. But he was saying he hasn't had adrenaline in about 15 years or something. I think because he started playing pro when he was 20 years old. So probably 3 years in, he's like. Doesn't get the adrenaline. But like for me, sometimes I get the adrenaline. You could tell, like last year, I was in the Fed for a little bit and I got in a fight. I accidentally suplexed the goalie. Accidentally on purpose. It's regular play. You cycle, you do 2 cycles down low, and then you pop to the D-man. D-man pulls it to the middle a little bit towards the middle, and then rips it off the back wall. And the forward who was coming up top, right? You go towards the net, and then the guy who was down here, who was on the low cycle, he comes up to the side so that like he could get that pass. But then the other winger, you both go like to the net, kind of collapse on the net, and then whatever side the puck bounces out on, you like spin off, and then you can get that rebound, right? And the play works like quite a bit. And we were doing that, and I tried spinning off, and the puck was right there for me to score. And the goalie has to leave the net to get in your way in these ones. And he was out of the net, and I was like, that's a for sure goal. I'm pissed. So then I felt him under me. I felt the D-man too, and I just suplexed him hard. And then Buddy grasped me. He's like, we're going. And it was a sold-out barn too. And I hadn't been in a fight in a couple games, but just like for some reason in that fight, the adrenaline was just like, it was just kicking, and I got this guy pretty good. And after the fight, I was just like, because I was in college for a while, and in my 8 games at the end of last year in pro, I had 3 fights, technically 4 because of the line brawl. But like it was like I was caged, dude. They're domesticating me, right? They're domesticating me for years, and I'm learning all this information. I've been to school for 6 years at this point. I'm just like, I was just chomping at the bit. And the coach on the other team's chirping me too, and I was just like screaming at them, and like the fans were like losing it too. And in the minors, like the fans, like, you're the NHL to a lot of these guys, because they like it more than the NHL. They're like, these guys are like legit. These guys love the game, like, and just so much crazy stuff can happen. It's so entertaining. And the fans are hyping me up too. I was just like, you like that? You like that? I threw my helmet too. I was like, you like that? The coach is like chirping me, saying like, he's like, you just beat up our most irrelevant player. This guy's a tough guy. He had like 27 points as a D-man. I'm like, I don't think he's relevant. But I was like, that's you sticking up for your players? You're a pussy, fuck you. And I was just like losing it, just like there's a video of it, and I'm just swearing at this coach, just ripping into him. So I completely lost control there. But it's funny because literally 2 minutes later, the guy on the other side, in a French accent, he's like, Kolby Johnson, huh? And I was just like, yeah. He's like, I remember you from Sherbrooke. And I was like, oh, shit, like, did you play, like, on a different team? He's like, no, I was a fan, bro. And I made the team later. He's like, I watched all your fights. And I was like, oh, shit, man, that's awesome. Like, you know, like, that's pretty cool. And then we broke down a little bit. But I got him pretty good. But for most fights, though, it's like you don't want to be like feeling adrenaline too much. Like if your hands are shaking, like you can get knocked out, or you can like do some crazy stuff, right? Like, because once your adrenaline's like really pumping, I find if maybe I'm a little fatigued, the adrenaline like really kicks in because my body needs that. But like that's when you like slap a ref, or like, you know, or just like get suspended for throwing an F sharp out there, you know.
Slap a ref, I love that. It's fucking hilarious.
I've seen it. I pushed refs, but like refs usually are like at the end of a fight, Like if a ref writes you up for something, you either got to do something really crazy or like have no respect from the refs, right? Because like you're fighting, you're in your fight or flight, and like I said, sometimes the adrenaline gets the best of you, you know. So yeah, sometimes you can just lose it, but then also like if like you can ask any fighter, if you're any winning fighter, if you go in there just like throwing absolute mayhem, you're just like asking for chaos, right?
Yeah.
And you're just opened up and you're swinging violently, not thinking, you're gonna get knocked out, especially when like I said, some of these fighters are like 37, 38 years old and they're still doing it. You know what I mean? Like some of them, they're doing it because they're getting paid really good. Like some of the fighters, like in the minors, make more money than like the goal scorers. Like it's like the top scorer and the fighter is usually like, and then the starting goalie, right? And then you got your good defenseman, but the fighter's right up there. But yeah, like with the adrenaline, like if you let it get the best of you in like the wrong situation, man, because like you got to be able to read, like it's like boxing, right? But there's grappling too, and then you're on your skates. Like
You don't want to hit your head on the ice.
you don't want to hit your head on the ice. There's so many variables too, and it's just like things you don't think about. Separating your shoulder, you know, because like you get tied up weird, and you fall and the refs jump on you. I had a buddy who was actually line mates with Ryan Reeves, former Team Jamaica guy. Tegan Moore, shout out again. Yeah, he's captain of Brandon Wheat Kings, captain of University of Calgary, played in the East Coast. I think he played a couple games in the American League, but he got in a fight when he was in the Coast, and the guy fell on him weird, and it ripped his shoulder out, ripped his pec in half, and his what's not your lat, your labrum. Yeah, your labrum. So then he had to sit out for like 2 years. He came back for a little bit with Team Jamaica, actually scored our game-winning goal for the first, not all black team, but colored team to win any international IIHF tournament. So that was cool. But yeah, so he came back, he did that, and then he said, you know what? He said, yeah, man, I'm good.
It's a good ride into the sunset, right?
Yeah, he's come to a couple of my games too. He's a really good guy. But yeah, that injury, like when he told me about that, it's just like, shit, man, like you just don't want that stuff. And the shoulders too. I've had both shoulders come out when I was younger. And then like as a fighter, you're expected to play through that kind of stuff. And fingers too, jamming your fingers. Because the helmets, or just like weird cuts on your hands, like my hands are like pretty scarred up, like this one here, that's from like teeth. These are from teeth and from visors. So when I was 16, the visors popped out, and I think they changed it when I was 17 or 18. But the visors used to pop out so that you wouldn't cut up your hands a bunch. So if you got a good punch, the visors popped off, and it was sweet too. It was like a point. You know what I mean? When you're fighting, you get that off, and then you're like, orbital bone. Your orbital bone's out there. Come on. But then they switched it to these ones that are just screwed in, and it's like glass. So if you get those too hard with an uppercut, you could mess up the tendons in your hand. Then you got arthritis, and then you can't play for a bit. Like this one here, that big one. Yeah, that hit my tendon, and I didn't tell my coaches about it, but I couldn't grip my stick for like 10 games. But like I didn't really need to. I could just get pucks out. I could block shots. It wasn't like I was out there for 2 minutes of a penalty kill. It's really just like extra guy, you know. But then fights, when that happens, it's like it hurts even more, right? Like, and that so that's when you're thankful for adrenaline, because then it's like it doesn't hurt then.
You can feel it, yeah.
But then like I'm surprised I can still play guitar. I think like, so I was talking to one of the athletic trainers at Trinity Western, and they said that playing guitar and like that kind of thing actually probably helped with my arthritis and carpal tunnel and that kind of stuff.
What got you into music?
My mom was like in a band. My dad, horrible singer, but loves to sing, loves music. Horrible. I heard my Uncle Ricky sing this over the weekend, and I was like, man, you guys said you guys should do duets. Like, you guys are the exact same, bro.
Colby, before we sign off here, before we wrap it up, well, where are you playing next? What's next? And
Before that, you mentioned Team Jamaica.
Oh, yeah.
Talk about that experience.
No, I won't grab the ring. Yeah, so.
Oh, grab the ring. Grab the ring. Grab the ring. What do you
Yeah, I guess you guys can look at that. The Buffalo.
Oh,
That's
this
where I
is
live
sick.
with Buffalo Soldier means and all that.
All right, so Colby just passed us his Team Jamaica ice hockey ring.
Yeah.
They won. What was the cup called again?
Latin Cup.
Latin Cup,
American
Latin American
we got
Cup.
kicked out of that for.
What? What you kicked out?
There's all kinds of stuff. So our team then had some draft picks and stuff. Our goalie was a 15-year-old Anson Thornton.
Armin hasn't seen a ring before. Give me the ring.
No, yeah, so our goalie was a 15-year-old Anson Thornton, Utah Hockey Club goalie.
Oh, there we
How
go.
You doing? What you doing?
15 years old.
No, not now, but 15 when we won that a men's championship. We had like drafted guys and stuff on the team. He couldn't play this year in the Challenger Series. He was doing too much stuff with his camps. But we did have the Smith brothers. Jamel's won 2 Stanley Cups. So now he has a Jamaica ring and 2 Stanley Cup rings. I'd rather have one of these with the odd ones.
How was that experience though?
No, it was really good. Like the community, like I was saying about the black hockey. Honestly, it feels like that a little bit, you know. Like this summer we traveled. The boys went to Chicago, New York, and then had our finals in Oshawa, Ontario, and we had a bunch of OHL guys, a couple NHL guys, AHL guys. And then just like guys from Division I, Division III, all kinds of stuff playing. So that was really cool to see how far it's come, and to see like players from all over. Like I made a bunch of connections with other players who are playing in the minors too, that are Jamaican. Like Jermaine Lowen's a Jamaican guy, plays Abbotsford Canucks. He hasn't been able to come play on any of them. He probably could have this year, but he just had a kid. So congrats on that. But yeah, it's a really amazing experience. I don't think I'd be playing hockey if it wasn't for that. Like when I got cut in the leg by that skate and then it was supposed to be all over, I came back. There was a 13-month recovery.
Were you cut by a skate?
Yeah, right there.
Holy.
You see that?
That's.
When I was 20.
Whoever's listening and not seeing this,
When I was 20.
Colby's got a pretty intense gash like by his
Look down,
in his
there's
thigh.
blood clot. Literally, femoral artery,
That's
bro.
insane.
Yeah, it's crazy. Yeah, it was 13-month recovery, 2-year to be fully recovered. But after 5 months, I went and played with Team Jamaica. Point per game, though.
Let's
Wow,
go.
I was getting carried.
Let's go.
But yeah, after that happened, and like with a lot of the racism that just happens, and then also it's not even just racism all the time. Sometimes it's classism, sometimes it's languageism even. Yeah. So yeah, I was like pretty like done with hockey, but then the whole Team Jamaica thing just revamped it, and I was like, well, I might as well just keep training so I could be sick at Team Jamaica stuff, you know? And then that just snowballed into me, just loving the game more and more again. Because like, if I was playing at Trinity Western and our team didn't win a lot, and it would get really disheartening, right? But then I'd be like, this is just the winter season right now. Yeah. I'd already be thinking about the summer season with Team Jamaica and with the Regretskis. You know what I mean? I'd be thinking about that. So it gave me a lot of like inspiration and motivation, especially like you see yourself in every single person on the team. You know what I mean? And that's just never happened to me before. I've seen my love of the game, like shown back to me, mirrored back to me, but like never in that kind of way. Like it's even like with Danbury, we had that all black starting lineup, and then there was that disagreement that Cincinnati did it before we did to have the first all black lineup in pro hockey. But it's like, honestly, to be having that kind of dilemma where it's like, who did it first, who did the actual one. They didn't have a goalie, but the coach was black who on that team. You know what I mean? It's like, well, it's a good problem to have, to be disagreeing on that, right?
Come a long way.
You know what I mean?
Still ways to go, though.
Yeah, still a long ways to go with everything. But yeah, when I went down to the States, like it was a lot of the same feeling too, because like some of these areas, it's like.
No, it's not very diverse.
No, it is.
Oh, it is.
It's not diverse, but it is at the same time, because that's like literally where they went, no more slaves, and the slaves were on these farms, and they just stepped off the farm, and they're like still there, right? That's where they like were let out, right? So then you have like super rich people of actually both, sides of the. It's less diverse, as in like here, like there's a lot of like East Indian, Middle Eastern, like Chinese, that kind of thing. There, it's like a lot of like black people, which was really cool for me to see, because like I'd be going on the ice and there's a black guy on the other team, or there's like 7 black guys on my team. And then there's like a ton of fans, and like during warm-ups, seeing a bunch of little black kids who were like me, like seeing like Joe McGinley or Anson Thornton, because like I was said at the beginning, like when you're a kid, you really don't know the difference. And they're like, the dreadlocks, yeah, that's sick, like I'm the nonchalant dreadhead to these kids, like I'm like something kind of cool, and I never had that in the Western League, never had that in the Q. Maybe Blainville, because like that's where all the immigrants, like black immigrants, went in Quebec. But yeah, it's just like the whole Team Jamaica thing, the whole like diversity thing. Like it's getting better and better. Definitely better than when I was coming up. And like people go, yeah, who. Like I read some of the comments, which is like mistake number 1, but like on the post my teams have made, and they're like first black lineup in pro, like who gives a shit?
Yeah.
Like,
why are you making a big deal out of this?
Yeah, like let's just
focus on the game.
Focus on the game. It's like
keep politics out of hockey.
Keep politics out of hockey.
It's not about that.
Because it's like that's like the blissful ignorance part of the equation. It's like people don't realize there's like a privilege to getting to just turn it off and be like, you know what? Race doesn't exist. Like it doesn't matter. I'm not going to think about it ever again. But it's like some people, it affects them every single day. Yeah. Actually, it's something that affects. It's a hurdle, right? That affects like minorities everywhere, especially like since I'm black, like every single day, and just all kinds of random things that like you wouldn't even think about. You don't even need to think about unless you're in that situation, right? So I'm just excited to see like where it keeps going, like to be seeing guys who are Jamaican winning Stanley Cups, playing in the NHL, and not just guys in fighter roles and that kind of thing. Like Chris Stewart, he helps out with Team Jamaica. Herb Carnegie, rest in peace. He was one of the black ice hockey players from way back in the day. He wasn't allowed to play in the NHL because he's black. He's the best player in the QMJHL. And there's a famous quote from the Montreal Canadiens saying, "I will give $100 million to anybody who could turn this N-word white," because he was the best. He was the best. But he actually got a shot in New York after as well, and he just couldn't deal with the discrimination and what was going on. And people go, "Oh, that's weak. You got to be so strong to be able to like be the best." But it's like,
it's easy to say when you haven't gone through the racism, right?
Yeah.
Or the discrimination or any of that.
Yeah.
That's the biggest thing. People say, "Oh, just I don't even see race." It's like it's easy to say when you haven't been called something or been discriminated on because of your skin color.
Yeah, and then the funny part too is I know a guy named Sean Gravy who does not-for-profit foundation that's helped me in the past and a lot of other black players. It's called 43 Oak, And he raises, actually Johnny Gaudreau, he did a lot with 43 Oak. I posted a picture the other day on my Instagram of me and Johnny at Checking for Charity. Johnny would always make sure to like, made sure all the NHL players that were there would come like hang out. Like Adam Fox and those guys, like I wouldn't have met any of these guys if it weren't for Johnny. And anyway, Sean, he grew up in the Bronx as a white guy. He he does like stocks and that kind of thing. He's a financial advisor and a marketing. He's like the CEO of a marketing agency as well. But he understands it from the other side. You know what I mean? He grew up as the only white guy. You know what I mean? And he's like, whoa, this is weird. So he has like this kind of epiphany, right? And just the things that he's done for players, like just to get education in the States, like, and it's for minorities, and then like people who don't have enough money, but like mainly minorities, because it's like you got to be in the States, you got to be niche. There's so much stuff out there, you got to be niche, and like having those conversations with him has been really cool. Because like when I first got there, like, cause I dealt with some racism when I was 20, right before I got cut by that skate. And I posted a thing that, from Jonathan Diaby. He played in the QMJHL. He had like bananas thrown at him, and people had in the LNAH, like the pro league in Quebec, they're putting gorilla pictures on the boards and harassing his family, and like everybody's calling him the N-bomb. This guy's like high drafted captain in the QMJHL too. I think he has a couple NHL games. I think he might be on Shoresy now. You'll see him in Vancouver sometimes. But anyways, I was like, that's crazy what's happening to this guy. And I was like, how's that like also happened to me? And then Josh Crooks in the Nova Scotia, I believe, he had this like movie documentary that was about him that he was in, talking about like how people were like racist to him and nobody protected him. And I was just like, enough is enough. It was a post like that. It got like couple thousand likes and it got shared everywhere, and then 43 Oaks like, yeah, we're gonna fly you out to Philadelphia. I'm like, are they gonna abduct me? Who are these people? You know what I mean? And then I go out there, Sean picks me up, he's like this white guy, and I'm like, what's going on? But he like talks like you know, like he's a brother, bro. Yeah. like legit. Like I don't know how to explain it. And just like listening to him talk about his experience, and then just like working with all these families all over the States, and just like really he's been at the head of like really diversifying the game. He now has a partnership with I think it's UBS, the bank, and then with the New York Islanders now to get players like to get players seen and that kind of thing. And then he takes like highlight videos from like black kids and puts them at what's it called, that
the Jumbotron?
The Jumbotron, but then also downtown New York, what's it called, Times Square. And like all of the video screens are just black kids highlights and stuff like that. So like these kids who come from, because like in the States it's like so expensive, especially with the school, with everything, and just the like, let alone the gear. So then like a lot of these people can't even see themselves like that. But then you're like on the ice with Johnny Gaudreau, and then you dash up Adam Fox, and then you're just like, maybe I am good. Maybe because you're like, oh, I can see myself with these NHL superstars, right? I can see myself there. Oh, I'm on the big screen here. That's what it takes. It just takes a platform. It takes somebody just believing in you, and you believing in yourself first of all, right? To make the plays to get on there, right? But
sometimes you need somebody to kind of guide you, right?
Yeah.
But no. First and foremost, this episode was nuts. It was like super crazy. No, don't applaud. This was
Dude,
awesome.
if all our guests
Like
bring
from-
the energy that you
Yeah.
bring, we're
And
doing
then
fucking
from there,
fantastic.
just to like bring all the awareness. Honestly,
rambling, you mean?
I think Kolby, we gotta have you on at some point. Maybe after your season. Oh, where just before we sign up, where are you playing next season? Where can people keep up with you?
Ice Flyer Nation, why you do it? That's where I'm playing, the Pensacola Ice Flyers.
Awesome.
They're in the Southern Professional Hockey League. We'll see if I get called up to the coast. I've talked to a couple teams, but I really just am trying to play where I have the most opportunity. They get around 8,000 fans a game. You're living on the beach. I've heard nothing but good things. I signed with them like during the season last year during the playoffs. I've been, manifesting when I'm in the steam room, manifesting like goals, the beach, the goals, fights. No, you know what I mean?
Superman punch.
Now I got to do that Superman punch. I just got to watch Kevin BX's videos. Just
Everyone's gonna be waiting for it.
over and over again.
Yeah.
Hey, if I do it though.
Oh,
if I do it now,
we
there'll
will
be good
lose it.
footage.
Well, yeah, it'll be amazing footage.
You'll get a call up somewhere if you pull that off.
Yeah,
100%.
I mean, like I have talked teams I've turned down. It's just because, like I said, I like my family says a little bit different. No mandingos. Look up mandingo if you don't know what a mandingo is. Never getting any goals, never getting any assists, never getting tapped to do anything but fight and block shots, unless I'm getting paid a lot of money.
Fair enough.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, cause right now it's about finding that opportunity and playing.
Definitely.
Right? And just I'm hoping it goes really good there. And you know what?
We'll be keeping up with you, man.
If it doesn't go very good though, like I'm only a boat
co-
ride
you-
away from Jamaica, from the yard.
Yeah, either that or you come play beer league. You come play beer league with us.
Yeah.
You'll be first
Start
liner. I
running.
promise. We'll be on the contract and everything.
Okay, it'll be
But no, guys, Kolby, man, he's freaking awesome. We'll have his handles in our post here, Connor. Yeah, beauty. But freaking amazing episode, guys. If you have not subscribed to our channel, please subscribe to our channel. Give Kolby a follow. I'm sure like if his hockey career doesn't work out, this guy has something to do in some kind of entertainment, that's for sure. But appreciate you guys listening, and until next time.
Wait for that. Before that, we get our guests to give a message out to everybody listening. You have a message for
You're
our
right.
viewers?
Yeah.
Hockey
Anyone.
life related.
Yeah, my bad.
Young kids of color coming in,
Almost
trying to
forgot.
make it.
It's just for everybody.
Hit it.
Never let somebody tell you what you can or can't do with your life. The only person who, at the end of the day, who can really control your destiny is yourself. So if you're going to control one thing, control yourself and believe in yourself. And never let anybody take that away from you.
That's
that-
that's
Yeah.
perfect.
Okay.
And thank you, Jazzy, for that. And on that note, guys, be good.